All right, let's kick off this deep dive. Buckle up, because transfer season is in full swing. And let me tell you,
It's absolutely crazy right now.
it's mayhem out there.
Yeah. Clubs are splashing the cash, players are switching shirts faster than you can say release clause, and
We are here to break it all down.
that's right, we're going way beyond the headlines, folks. We're talking those deep cuts.
We're going to give you the insights you won't find just by scrolling through Twitter. So, first up, let's talk about a transfer that's got everyone talking.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle Walker, the man, the myth, the legend. Well, maybe not quite a legend yet, but
It's getting there.
he's been a stalwart for Man City, and England is heading to AC Milan.
On loan.
Now, I got to admit, when I first saw this, I thought, wait, what? Is this a typo?
Right. It's not your everyday transfer, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, Walker's been a rock at the back for City, so what's Pep up to here?
Well, remember what Pep said earlier this season, that whole "we won't be back until next season" thing?
Oh, yeah.
Makes you think, doesn't it? Is this the start of a major rebuild at the Etihad?
I mean, it's got to be, right? And the farewell messages, they're almost heartbreaking.
No. Grealish calling Walker his brother for life.
Walker himself thanking everyone, his wife, Pep, his teammates.
It does feel like the end of an era.
It does.
And if this is the start of a new chapter for City,
Who's next?
they're great.
Who's next out the door?
Exactly. And what does it mean for their ambitions this season? Are they waving the white flag already, or?
Are they playing the long game? Sacrificing now to build something even stronger for the future?
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, enough about Manchester. Let's head down south to London, where things are heating up at Chelsea.
Oh boy, are they ever.
So they're trying to bring back Armando Broja from his loan spell at Everton.
Yep.
But wait, there's more. They might offer Everton either Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall or Carney Chukwuemeka in return.
Talk about wheeling and dealing. This is where things get really intriguing, though, right? Mikel Arteta over at Arsenal, he's been pretty vocal about needing a new striker, especially after Gabriel Jesus' injury.
Yeah.
Could Broja be on his radar, too? I mean,
It's a possibility, right?
if I'm Arteta, I'm on the phone right now trying to hijack that deal.
Imagine Broja leading the line for Arsenal. The possibilities.
It's exciting stuff.
Okay, so Chelsea might be bringing Broja back, but there's a chance they could be letting another forward go. Christopher Nkunku. And guess who's interested?
Let me guess. Manchester United.
Bingo. Now, Nkunku's goal-scoring record in the Bundesliga, phenomenal. Champions League, even better.
Right.
Premier League, not so much.
Yeah, that's the big question mark, isn't it? Just 2 goals in 18 appearances.
Makes you wonder, right?
Is it the pace of the Premier League, the physicality, or is there something about his style of play that just doesn't quite translate?
£70 million is a lot of money to gamble on a maybe.
It is, and you have to think, is Ten Hag feeling the pressure? Or does he see something in Nkunku that the rest of us are missing?
Maybe he sees potential. Or maybe he's just desperate for goals. And speaking of United, get this. Chelsea's apparently got their eye on Alejandro Garnacho.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're really trying to stir the pot, especially with Garnacho playing a full 90 minutes in that recent Europa League win, even with Antony on his way out to Real Betis.
You have to wonder if that was a deliberate move by Ten Hag. Like, hey, Chelsea, look what you're missing. But then again,
Maybe he just needed someone to fill the gap.
that's true, too. But if you're Garnacho, wouldn't you be tempted by a move to Chelsea? I mean, they've got a track record of developing young talent.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, his chances of regular starts at United right now are pretty slim.
It's true.
It's a tough decision for a young player, loyalty versus opportunity.
It really is. But before we get completely lost in the world of mega transfers and mind games,
Yes.
let's shift gears a bit and talk about some rising stars who might be flying under the radar.
Oh, I like this.
Players to watch, potential breakout stars.
Players who could be lighting up the scoreboard this weekend. I've actually got a list here. 5 goal scorers to watch out for.
5.
First, Patrick Schick from Bayer Leverkusen. This guy is on fire.
On fire.
7 goals in his last 4 games. Now, Leverkusen have got a tough match this weekend, but
I have a feeling Schick is going to keep that hot streak going.
I think so too. He's a player in form.
He is. And how about Gabriel from Arsenal?
Oh, good shout. Set-piece specialist. And they're up against Wolves this weekend, who haven't exactly been rock-solid defending set pieces.
Could be a recipe for a Gabriel goal fest.
You know, it's funny, you mentioning Gabriel, it brings up a really interesting point about how the role of the striker is changing. Like, obviously guys like Gabriel are still crucial,
Oh, yeah.
but you don't see as many of those classic target men anymore, you know? Strikers these days, they need to be more dynamic.
More versatile.
Exactly.
And that brings us to our next player to watch,
Oh, yes.
Kylian Mbappe. He's like the poster boy for the
Yeah.
modern striker.
Absolutely. Pace, power, clinical finishing, but he can also drop deep, link up the play, create chances. He's the complete package.
And speaking of which, Mbappe is on our list of players to watch this weekend, of course. Real Madrid are in top form.
And Mbappe is
What?
Mbappe. Enough said.
Physically. All right, back to the Premier League. Jean-Philippe Mateta from Crystal Palace, he's another one to keep an eye on, finally found his scoring boots.
Yeah,
And Palace are facing Brentford this weekend, who have a terrible away record, so
could be a good weekend for Mateta and Palace.
definitely one to watch. And last but not least,
Let's hear it.
Lautaro Martinez from Inter Milan. Consistent performer, loves scoring against this weekend's opponents. Lecce.
He's a good shout for your fantasy team, that's for sure.
All right, before we jump into even more transfer madness,
Okay.
let's throw a question out to our listeners.
Yeah.
Based on what we've discussed so far, which Premier League team do you think is playing the transfer market the smartest right now?
Good question.
And more importantly, why? Let us know your thoughts. We'll be back in just a moment to dive into even more transfer news and speculation. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We're still swimming in this sea of transfer rumors, trying to make sense of it all.
And trust me, there are some real head scratchers out there. But before we get sidetracked, let's circle back to that whole Armando Broja situation.
Oh yeah, the Chelsea, Everton, Arsenal triangle.
Exactly. I'm hearing whispers that Everton might actually be open to sending Broja back to Chelsea.
Really? Interesting. It's a risky move for Everton, isn't it?
It is. But they're clearly desperate for a striker.
And maybe they think this is their best chance to get one, especially if Chelsea throws in a sweetener like Dewsbury Hall or
It's all
Chukwuemeka.
about leverage, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a high-stakes poker game. Does Chelsea really want Broja back, or are they just using him as a bargaining chip to get a better deal elsewhere? It's hard to say.
It's Chelsea, so who knows? All right, speaking of high stakes, we have to talk about Christopher Nkunku again.
Ah, yes, the 70 million pound question mark.
Exactly. I mean, his goal scoring record in the Bundesliga and the Champions League is phenomenal.
It is.
But Premier League, not so impressive.
Yeah, just 2 goals and 18 appearances. Makes you wonder if he can handle the intensity of the Premier League.
The pace, the physicality.
Exactly. It's a different beast altogether.
It is, and 70 million's a lot of money to gamble on him, maybe.
It is. So either Ten Hag sees something in Nkunku that we don't, or
he's getting desperate.
maybe a bit of both. Who knows? But let's not forget, it's not just about goals, right? You need a certain mentality to thrive at a club like Manchester United.
Oh, absolutely. The pressure, the expectations, the media scrutiny.
It can be overwhelming for some players. Some players crumble under it, you know?
They do. And speaking of pressure, what about young Alejandro Garnacho?
Oh, yeah, the Chelsea target.
Chelsea are really turning up the heat on United for him, and after that full 90 minutes he got in the Europa League.
You have to wonder if Ten Hag's playing mind games, right? Like, hey, Chelsea, look what you could be missing out on.
It's possible. Or maybe he just needed someone to fill the gap with Anthony heading to Real Betis.
Yeah, that's true too. But let's be real. If you're Garnacho, a move to Chelsea has to be tempting.
It does.
I mean, they've got a great track record of developing young talent. And at United, he's stuck behind some pretty big names. His chances of regular starts are, well,
slim to none.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a tough choice for a young player, though. Loyalty versus opportunity.
It is. It's a real dilemma. But, it's not just about individual players. There are bigger trends at play here, shaping the transfer market.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about earlier, there's a huge emphasis on young talent these days.
And data analytics. Clubs are crunching numbers, looking for those hidden gems.
It's like Moneyball, but for football. And it's changing the game. We're seeing more and more clubs prioritize data-driven scouting over traditional methods.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Makes you wonder what's next. Will we have AI negotiating transfers? Robot scouts?
Who knows? Anything's possible at this
I
point.
so know, right? It's crazy. But even with all this technology, there's still that human element involved.
Of course. At the end of the day, it's still about finding players who fit the system, players with the right mentality, players who can make a difference on the pitch.
You can have all the data in the world, but if the player doesn't have that spark,
That X factor?
it's not going to work.
Exactly. Okay, before we jump into some other transfer news, let's go back to that question we asked our listeners.
Yeah, good idea. Which Premier League team do they think is playing the transfer market the smartest right now?
We've had some great responses so far, lots of different opinions, but it's a tough question. There's no easy answer.
There isn't. So many factors to consider. All right, let's rapid fire through some other interesting developments. Victor Boniface. He just signed a contract extension with Bayer Leverkusen.
Good for them. He's a special talent. I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing for a top club soon, though.
I agree. But for now, Leverkusen fans can breathe a sigh of relief.
They can.
On a more serious note, we have to acknowledge the passing of a true Manchester United legend, David Gaskell. Debuted at 16, imagine that.
Wow, 16. That's incredible. A different era for sure.
It was. But his legacy will live on at Old Trafford.
Absolutely. A true giant of the game.
Okay, back to the transfer whirlwind. Rumor has it that Neymar might be heading back to Santos.
Wait, really? Back to his boyhood club?
Yeah, and get this, the deal might involve his father getting a stake in the Brazilian side.
Wow. That would be quite the story. The prodigal son returns.
Is it the right move for him at this stage in his career? That's the question.
It is. I mean, he's still a world-class player, but...
But he's had his fair share of injuries, off-field distractions.
And let's be honest, his wages are astronomical. Can Santos even afford him?
That's a good point. Maybe it's more about sentiment, legacy.
Probably a bit of both. But at the end of the day, it's Neymar's decision. Does he chase titles and glory in Europe, or does he prioritize a return to his roots? It's a tough call.
It is. It really is. All right, one more young player to keep an eye on. John Duran from Aston Villa. He's attracting interest from Real Madrid, PSG,
Wow, PSG.
even Al Nassr.
He's a phenomenal talent, no doubt about it. But can Villa hold on to him if these European giants come knocking?
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But hey, we've seen crazier things happen in the transfer market.
That's the truth.
Shock moves, last-minute swoops, you name it. And that's what makes it so exciting for fans, right?
Absolutely. It's a roller coaster ride. Hope, despair, excitement, and sometimes just pure disbelief.
I know, right? It's a wild ride, but we wouldn't have it any other way. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today, but
There's always more.
there is always more. We'll be back in just a moment to wrap things up and leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been through it all. The rumors, the speculation, the mind games.
It's exhausting just thinking about it, but that's transfer season for you.
It is. It's a roller coaster. Now, remember that question we asked earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Which Premier League team is playing the transfer market the smartest?
We got some great responses from our listeners.
Yeah, some really insightful stuff. And it's clear there's no easy answer.
No, not at all. I mean, some clubs are going all in on big money signings. Others are playing the long game, investing in young talent. It all depends on their strategy, right?
Yeah, their priorities, their needs, their long-term vision.
Exactly. And let's not forget the human element. You can have all the money in the world, the best data analytics, but if you don't have the right manager, the right team spirit, it can all fall apart.
Yeah, it's not just about tactics and formations. It's about psychology, chemistry, that intangible something that makes a team click.
Absolutely. So as we watch the rest of this transfer window unfold, I think it's important to pay attention to the details.
Oh, yeah.
The whispers, the body language, those little hints that tell you more than the headlines ever can.
That's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive, right?
Right.
We don't just give you the facts.
We go deeper, we try to connect the dots, help you see the bigger picture.
And hopefully make you think a little bit.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, football is about more than just results. It's about the stories, the debates, the shared passion.
It's about those moments that make you jump out of your seat, scream at the TV.
Yeah, those moments that stay with you long after the final whistle.
Exactly. And whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, we all have something to contribute to the conversation.
We do. So keep those discussions going, keep those predictions coming, and most importantly,
Keep your eyes peeled for that next big transfer shock.
because you never know what's going to happen next. That's the beauty of it.
It is. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. But the transfer window is still wide open, so stay tuned for more twists and turns.
We'll be back soon to break it all down.
This has been The Deep Dive, signing off. This has been The Deep Dive, signing off.